Coming up on Sportsource, a rookie goalie making history. Josh Rosenzweig is turning heads in the Athens Rock Lobsters' debut season. Can he keep up the momentum? And Georgia fans love their dogs, but who do they love to hate? We hit campus to settle the ultimate rivalry debate. Find out who made the enemy list. Sportsource starts now. Welcome to Sportsource. I'm your host, Colin Miller. We're just days away from one of the biggest nights in sports, Super Bowl 59. This year's matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs is extra special for Georgia fans because the game is packed with former Bulldogs making an impact on both sides of the field. From Philly's dominant Philly Dogs defense to the Chiefs' playmakers, UGA is well represented on football's biggest stage. To break it all down, I've got Sportsource analysts Avery Cameron and Keisha Chestnut with me. Analysts, let's get into it.
Thanks, Colin. UGA is once again making its mark on the biggest stage in football, the Super Bowl. This year, we've got a bunch of former Dogs playing key roles for both the Chiefs and the Eagles. One name that really stands out, Mecole Hardman. He had that unforgettable game-winning play in last year's championship, but with him out due to injury, the Chiefs are missing a huge weapon.
Keisha, how do you think that's going to affect their offense?
It's a big blow, Colin. Hardman's speed has been a game changer since his Georgia days, and he was part of a huge way of Dogs' national championship run in 2018. The Chiefs were counting on him to be a key piece of their offense this season, but now that he's out, we got to find a way to fill those gaps. How do they adjust? That's the big question.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see how the Chiefs adjust without Hardman, but he's not the only former Bulldog taking the field on Sunday, right, Avery?
That's right, Colin. Philly's defense has been lights out this season. They finished as the #1 defense in the NFL, and a big reason for that, the Philly Dogs. A group of former Georgia standouts have been making a huge impact. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, and Nakobe Dean have helped turn this defense into one of the most feared units in the league.
And speaking of the Philly Dogs, the Eagles have the most players on one side of the ball coming from the same college in Super Bowl history. There's no doubt this defense is stacked. But here's the thing. Despite being #1, their passing defense has been shaky at times, and that's a real weakness. If Hardman were playing, his speed could have been a major factor in exploiting that.
Hardman had one of the biggest plays in last year's Super Bowl, catching the game-winning touchdown in overtime. But with him out this time, who's Mahomes going to trust in those big moments on Sunday? Avery?
Well, that's a good question. The Chiefs have been struggling to find a true wide receiver one, and injuries have not made that easier. Aside from Hardman, the Chiefs have also been without Rashee Rice, who had a season-ending injury earlier in the year. Mahomes has still plenty of hands to throw to, some new and some old. Kansas City staple Travis Kelce is in his 12th season with the team and has continued to be a reliable target for Mahomes, racking up 136 receiving yards in the last 2 post-game seasons.
There's some new faces as well. Veteran receiver DeAndre Hopkins joined the team in October and has made some big plays, but it's the team's first-round rookie, Xavier Worthy, who has really made an impact. The former Texas Longhorn notched 130 yards and a touchdown in this year's postseason run. The real standout has been running back Kareem Hunt, who has been with the team after a stint with the Browns. Hunt has 108 yards on the ground and has reached the end zone twice this postseason. That's raises some questions. Are the Chiefs getting enough explosive plays from their wide receivers, or is Mahomes relying more on his backs and tight ends because the wide receivers just aren't stepping up the way they need to?
Great points, Keisha. So with all that in mind, what does Kansas City need to do if they want to win their 3rd straight Super Bowl?
Well, for the Chiefs to win, they've got to open things up on offense. Right now, despite a 4th Super Bowl appearance, the Chiefs' offense is lacking its usual firepower, especially against a defense as tough as Philly's. If they don't, defenses are just going to lock in on Kelce and Hunt, making things way harder for Mahomes. They're already missing Hardman, who has been a huge playmaker in last year's Super Bowl, so they've got to find someone to fill that gap.
Exactly, Avery. The Chiefs have made it work so far this postseason, but when you look at the numbers, they're doing it in a pretty unconventional way. The big question is, does that give them an edge, or is it a sign that they're missing some of their usual firepower against a team like Philly? They need to find more balance and a big play potential if they want to come out on top. That's definitely going to be a huge factor in this game.
Great breakdown, analysts. Now let's get to the fun part, predictions. Who's taking home the Lombardi Trophy?
Well, I'm rolling with the Eagles. Their defense, led by the Philly Dogs, is built to slow down Mahomes. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis are going to dominate up front, so lock me in for Philly, 31-28.
Avery, I'm right there with you. Give me Philly. The Eagles have put together an incredible team, and that defense, shout out to the Philly Dogs, is the real deal. Mahomes is one of the best to ever do it, no doubt, but I'm sticking with the Eagles to pull it off 28-24. Back to you, Colin.
Thanks, ladies. We now shift our focus to another big matchup, this time on the hardwood. This time, it's a battle in the SEC as Georgia takes on Mississippi State in our Game of the Week. Joining me now with a preview are Sportsource analysts Poppy Marquez and Lainey Martin.
Two SEC rivals, one big showdown. Georgia and Mississippi State go head-to-head in a battle of the Bulldogs.
Who has the edge? We break it all down in Game of the Week, next on Sportsource. Don't go away.
Welcome back to Sportsource and welcome to the Game of the Week. This weekend, we've got a big SEC showdown and a battle of the Bulldogs between Georgia and Mississippi State's men's basketball teams. Both teams are looking for a win and to build momentum as they head deeper into conference play. Georgia is coming off a dominant win over LSU on Wednesday, while number 22 Mississippi State is looking to bounce back from a loss against 15th-ranked Missouri last week. Here to help me break it all down are Sportsource analysts Poppy Marquez and Lainey Martin. Ladies, what can we expect from this matchup?
Well, thanks, Colin. As you said, Georgia earned a much-needed win earlier this week against LSU at home, 81-66, and Mississippi State, on the other hand, is looking to bounce back after a tough 88-61 loss to Missouri.
Looking at the numbers, Georgia averages 75.8 points per game, while Mississippi State puts up 79.9 points per game. On defense, Georgia allows 67.2 points per game, while Mississippi State gives up 71.2 points per game. These teams play with different styles, so it'll be interesting to see the turnout.
What are some individual matchups that you're looking out for that could make the difference in this weekend's game?
One of the biggest matches to watch this week is Georgia's Asa Newell versus Mississippi State's Keshawn Murphy. Newell leads Georgia with 15.5 points and 6.9 rebounds per game, while Murphy is in Mississippi State's top inside presence, averaging 11 points and 7.2 rebounds per game. Both players are also strong rim protectors, making this battle key for both teams.
Another matchup I'm watching out for is Georgia's Silas Demery Jr. against Mississippi State's Cameron Matthews. Both players lead their teams in assists and steals. Demery Jr. averages 3 assists and almost 2 steals per game, while Matthews averages almost 4 assists and 2.6 steals per game. I think the way these two players guard each other will set the pace of the game. And another player I want to highlight is Blue Kane. I've been saying this all season. Even though he's not making the big threes that we originally expected when he came here, he is an all-around contributor on the court. Kane is the kind of player that you want on your team if you're a coach because he does not take possessions off. He hustles, he dives for loose balls, he grabs rebounds, he makes smart passes, and he sprints down the court on fast breaks to get a layup. And he does the little things that may go unnoticed in the moment but add up to make a big impact on the game. And last game versus LSU, he had a double-double of 10 rebounds and 10 points, and he recorded a career high of 8 assists. Kane's play style is especially important in matchups like this one, where one possession could be the difference maker in a game.
The coach just told me just keep playing, try to win, and then my teammates just allowed me to be in good positions to make plays.
Now, outside of individual matchups, what do you think each team needs to do to escape with a win?
Well, Colin, I think if the Dogs play the way they should play for the entire 40 minutes, the Dogs should be in good shape, but I cannot emphasize this enough. The Bulldogs need to finish the game. Too often they have let teams creep back into the game once they get a big lead, and we saw this happen versus Arkansas a few weeks ago.
Mississippi State will need to beat Georgia on the boards. Both teams average around 38 rebounds per game, so getting an advantage in that category could be crucial. They'll also need to trust top scorer Josh Hubbard on offense. If he has another strong performance, Mississippi State has a chance of picking up a big win on the road in the SEC.
All right, now let's get into predictions. Who do you ladies have this weekend?
Well, Colin, I think because this game is at home, the Dogs will play the way they need to and come out with the win 96-87.
I'm going with Georgia on this one. With Newell and Kane on their hot streak, I think Georgia will put this game away 75-60.
Should be a really fun one. Thanks, ladies. Next on Sportsource, a rookie goalie stealing the spotlight. Josh Rosenzweig has been a brick wall for the Athens Rock Lobsters, making history in their debut season. How's he handling the pressure? We caught up with him to find out. And later, who's Georgia's biggest rival? It depends on who you ask. Sportsource returns after this short break. Don't go away. Welcome back to Sportsource. As the Athens Rock Lobsters' debut season continues, some players have certainly made the most out of their opportunities on the big stage. Sportsource reporter Paige Collins caught up with one rookie who's making noise in the Classic City.
Thanks, Colin. Josh Rosenzweig, the youngest member of the Athens Rock Lobsters, is already making history. The rookie goalie stood tall last weekend, racking up 62 saves in their 1-0 win over the Columbus River Dragons. In their debut season, the Rock Lobsters have electrified Athens with fast-paced, high-intensity hockey. I caught up with Rosenzweig, a Toronto native, to talk about handling pressure, being the youngest on a pro team, and what's next for his career. Here's what he had to say. Being from Toronto, now playing hockey in Athens, Georgia, not exactly a town known for its hockey culture, how has that adjustment been so far?
Yeah, it's been great. Moving down to the south. It's a really great town, university town, college town. It's been really fun.
That's so fun. And then as this is the inaugural season for the Rock Lobsters, what has it meant to you so far being a part of this team?
Yeah, first year team. We got a brand new rink. As we're starting to play more home games, getting a lot of love from the community. So it's an electric every home game we play here, so it's good.
As the youngest member on the Rock Lobsters team, what advice would you give someone who aspires to play at the next level?
Work hard and have fun. Yeah.
And then previously, you were part of the Niagara Ice Dogs and the Watertown Wolves hockey teams. How have your experiences there benefited you on the Rock Lobsters?
Yeah, obviously really good for my development, and then it was a pretty easy transition into Athens. So yeah, just keep on building.
Last weekend in your game against the Columbus River Dogs, you put up impressive numbers with 62 saves and 3 saves in the shootout. That ultimately secured the win for the Rock Lobsters. What was going through your mind during that shootout?
Well, we made it this far. Might as well continue, not letting a goal. Try to win.
As a goalie, how do you prepare for those high pressure situations?
I just sort of try not to think about it too much. Just I know what I have to do. Go out there and have a good time, put a smile on my face, and try and stop the puck.
Is there anything that motivates you before you step onto the rink?
Yeah, winning. I like to do that. So, yeah, that's what motivates me.
Cool. And then do you have any bigger aspirations after the Rock Lobsters? Where do you see your career going?
In a perfect world, hopefully one day I could make it to the NHL. But, as for right now, I'm here. I'm here to win a championship. Happy to be here.
Cool. And then if you could play for an NHL team, what team would you want to play for?
Ooh, Toronto Maple Leafs, hometown. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you.
Rosenzweig has been a force in the net this season, stopping 345 of the 376 shots he's faced. The Rock Lobsters hit the ice again on Wednesday, February 12th, taking on in-state rival Columbus River Dragons at Atkins Ford Arena in Athens at 7:05 p.m. This marks their 8th matchup with Columbus, leading the series 7-4, but with Rosenzweig in goal, they won't have an easy time scoring. Back to you, Colin.
Thanks, Paige. It's great to learn a bit more about one of the Rock Lobsters' most exciting young players. Who do UGA fans consider their biggest rival? The answers might surprise you. Stick around. Sportsource returns after this short break. Welcome back to Sportsource. Now, every Georgia fan has that one team that makes their blood boil. But is it the same for everyone? Sportsource reporter Nigel Whittington hit UGA campus to investigate, risking heated debates and possibly a few side eyes.
College sports are packed with legendary rivalries. Ohio State versus Michigan, Duke versus North Carolina, and Texas versus Oklahoma, just to name a few. But when it comes to Georgia, who's the top competitor? To settle the debate, I headed to campus and asked students and faculty who they think the Dogs' biggest rival is, regardless of sport. And trust me, there were some heated opinions. Who do you think UGA's biggest rival is and why?
I'd have to say Florida.
Okay, it's definitely Florida.
It's Florida without question.
I think it's got the most history, and being a neutral site game is a pretty big deal.
It's just one that inspires a lot of passion for fan bases.
They've beaten us really badly some years, and we just always love to get that revenge every time we can in Jacksonville.
There's a reason fall break happens the day before the Georgia-Florida game.
I think it'd be Tennessee because they've been getting better, and also that's my mom's favorite team, so we have to be against them.
I'd probably say Auburn.
I'm going to say Auburn.
I would probably say it's Auburn because it's like our oldest rivalry.
They 3 to 4 years ago, they've always been beating up on us, and then it just goes back and forth.
Always a close game, especially in the past 15 years, and both teams have been good, and it's called the deepest oldest rivalry in the South for a reason.
And every time we play them, it just gets real intense in any sport, no matter what it is.
Probably Georgia Tech.
I'm going to have to go with Tech.
Well, I think that just our biggest rival, at least our most fun rival, will probably be Georgia Tech.
This is an unpopular opinion, but I kind of want to say that Georgia Tech's going to be a big rival again.
Because they're ranked like one of the best colleges in the state.
It's not like a crazy competitive rivalry, but it's in-state.
Just looking at them the last 2 years, I get scared every November now, and I don't like that.
Sometimes I think they're a little bit better than us, but step on any court, any field, we'll show them what's what.
I'm an out-of-state student, and I know people are going to say Georgia Tech, but I would say that it's Alabama.
Well, right now I'm thinking it's Alabama.
I really do believe that it might be Alabama.
Ooh, our biggest rival is definitely Alabama.
Alabama, because I don't like them.
I hate Alabama.
They've been our biggest competition for the past few years.
Because we're going to go back and forth for the dynasty. We're going to try to do something a little bit better every single year, and that's obviously been our biggest challenge.
Just always don't like Alabama.
And I don't know, it feels like even with the students we have good rivalry with them.
But also hate Texas.
No, it's Texas. Wait, which team do we lose to? I don't know much about sports. Which team do we lose to?
We lost to Bama.
They're definitely our biggest rival, and we need to beat their butt next year. Go UGA. Go Dogs.
Turns out, if you ask current and former Dogs, you'll get plenty of different answers, each with its own passionate reasoning. Whoever the true rival is, one thing stays true. Plenty of passionate fans will be rooting for the Dogs, no matter the matchup. Back to you, Colin.
Thanks, Nigel. Nothing like a good rivalry debate to get Dog fans fired up. Just hope no friendships were lost in the process. Well, that's a wrap for this edition of Sportsource, but don't worry, we'll be back next week with more hot takes, highlights, and maybe even more questionable fan opinions. Until then, see you next time.